Hello, everyone. It's Teddy back with the Illuminary Gazette and the Glimmer Gang, and we have our first big dump of cards today from URSULA'S return. So let's go over them and see what goodies we got. Alright, so the first batch of cards we are going to look at today came from an article from The Nerdist, and the first card we're going to look at is Cricky, Lucky Cricket, 5-costed, Inkable, Storyborn Ally, 3/4 with 3 lore and Emerald. Spreading good fortune when you play this character, your other characters get +3 strength this turn. I honestly don't mind this at all. Being able to basically give your characters the ability to challenge anything and anything and hopefully take it out is really nice. This is basically saying you're playing Emerald and Crab down, but your entire board gets it just for the turn. Obviously, you don't get to do anything when Cricky leaves the playing field, but I actually do like this a lot. I think this could be really interesting in limited. Basically, if you build up a nice board presence or your opponent decides to quest out, play Cricky down, and you're able to basically take out your entire opponent's board and leave a 3 lore quester out there. Obviously, anything with 3 lore is great. So watch out for this card. Obviously, we have such a small amount of cards so far from Ursa's Lair, so who knows how good this will be in constructed. The next card we have is TikTok, Ever Present Pursuer, 6-costed, Inkable, and Amethyst, Storyborn Ally, 4/7 for 1 lore and evasive. Kind of just pack filler common, good evasive with a lot of strength and willpower, can do a lot because obviously other things aren't going to be able to take it out that easily unless it is straight removed. But honestly, kind of just pack filler. Not really much you can do with this other than play it down and limited to have a big body on the field. This next card is probably one of my favorite characters on all of Disney. It's Jacques Connoisseur of Climbing, 3-costed, Inkable, Storyborn Ally, and Emerald, 1/4 for 2 lore. Sneaky idea. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gains Reckless during their next turn. We've seen that chosen opposing character gains Reckless during the next turn on a whole bunch of different things, probably the most prominent one being the John Silver we got in set 1. But this, again, not bad. Its strength is kind of not the best. I think even if this was a 2/4, this would be a lot better. Probably would only be 1 lore on this card at that point, but I don't mind it. I just don't obviously see it seeing play because that 3 payment spot, that 3 ink spot is so prominent in any deck, and there's a lot more powerful stuff than this Jock. We have a Vanilla Khan up next, Beloved Steed, 2-costed, Inkable, Storyborn Ally, and Ruby, 3/2 for 1 lore. Yeah, just a nice attacker and limited. Maybe I know like a lot of these first initial cards are really nice and limited. This article was kind of just like the sidekicks and all that. And so Khan, nice horse, good card, kind of just a pack filler uncommon here, unfortunately. And then the final card we have from the Nerdist article is a 4-costed, Inkable Steel card, Raja, Royal Protector, Storyborn Ally, 3/4 for 2 lore, Steady Gaze. While you have no cards in your hand, characters with cost 4 or less can't challenge this character. That's actually really interesting, to be honest, because I think this can be really good in limited. And I know I've mentioned that a lot to start this video, but this can be really good in limited because a lot of people are going to be playing low to the ground decks. They're going to be filling their decks with a lot of 2 and 3 cost characters. And if you don't really have a good draw engine in limited, you're not going to have many cards in hand. And so if you can just let Raja quest turn after turn and just keep playing your cards down, it's not bad. I don't think this will be great. This is probably will never see play in constructed just because there is virtually no time when you're without cards in your hand unless you get, so you're playing against discard or something like that. So this could be a combatant against discard if discard does get really good, but I still think that Raja, good limited, not that good in constructed. The next set of cards we're going to look at is from the comic book article, and this article brought a whole new thing to Lorcana in new ways to shift on Ursula Eric's Bride, which is a 4-costed, uninkable in Amber, 2/4 for 2 lore, Flowborn Villain, Princess Sorcerer, shift, discard a song card, and as over the next 6 cards we'll look at, there are different ways to shift now. We're not just paying, but you can discard a song card. And this one says Vanessa's Design. Whenever this character quests, choosing opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. Be prepared. Whoa, bare necessities on legs. Essentially, it's still so uncertain to know how good this will be with having to discard a song card. A lot of these ones that you shift and discard something kind of changes how we look at the game a little bit. If you're going to play them, I think this one probably could see a bit amount of play because that 2 lore is nice. And also that bare necessities ability is always great to be able to just get knowledge from your opponent and potentially get a threatening song out of their hand. We do get our first team up in quotes card with Flotsam and Jetsam both on it. Entangling Eels, 6 costed Inkable, 5/5 for 2 lore, Floodborn Ally, shift, and you discard 2 cards if you want to shift this card down onto another Flotsam or Jetsam, because this character counts as being named both Flotsam and Jetsam. So really cool to see 2 characters on 1 card. This kind of opens up to see what other characters could we see on the same card. Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella and the Prince, stuff like that. Again, probably not the greatest. These type of cards, you probably, I don't know, if you were going to play this, you would just play down for a 6 drop. So it's good. I think we need to see something that says like benefits you discarding, because if there's not anything that benefits you discarding, why would you play this or any of these, to be honest? Now, the one shift discard card that I actually think is really interesting is this Diablo Devoted Herald, 3 costed uninkable and Emerald, Flipborn Ally, 2/2 for 1 lore. Like I said, shift card, discard, and action card. It has evasive and circle far and wide. During each opponent's turn, whenever they draw a card while this character is exerted, you may draw a card. Now, obviously, that 2 willpower is not great when Steel is running around. I believe it was confirmed that if you were to play Let the Storm Rage on this and is exerted, you still would be able to draw a card off of that, because you're seeing your opponent draw a card and all of that. But obviously, it'll just kind of have to see if this card can even last in a meta where Steel is so prominent, where being able to remove something like with Grab Your Sword, Strength or Range Fire, Smash, anything can hit 2 willpower. And so it's not the greatest. It is a legendary, which feels interesting. I feel like this could have gone as a super, and I think this really needed to take up a legendary spot. But again, I like this one a lot. Obviously, this kind of tailors into multiplayer being during each opponent's turn, so something to keep an eye out. The next one we have is Li Shang, Valorous General. 3 costed Inkable, 3/2 for 1 lore, Floodborn Hero. Shift, discard a character card. Lead the charge. Your characters with 4 strength and more get +1 lore. This is kind of calling into the weight set deck that was created a little while ago. Weight set lets you, if you have a character of 4 strength or more in play, you get to draw a card, and that deck can really draw if you're able to get a bunch of cards out, so you can draw and then quest for a lot. And also, when characters challenge into you, they're basically dying right away or getting banished right away if they don't have a willpower of 4 or more. And this being a 3 cost can come down, and you can get a board filled with some characters that have 4 or more strength. So Li Shang, not bad. I think this will have to, again, be played around with. We don't know how these shift, discard, and whatever you have to do will truly fare in a meta. But obviously, like I've said and will say for a while, we don't really know how all of these cards will perform because we don't have the full set yet. Now, this is probably my favorite card I've seen in all of Lorcana so far. Olaf, Carrot Enthusiast, 3 costed Inkable and Sapphire, Floodborn Ally, 1/4 for 2 lore, shift, discard an item card. So obviously, we all know Sapphire loves their items. Carrots all around. Whenever you quest, each of your other characters gets plus strength equal to this character's strength this turn. So I could honestly see us getting an item that is a carrot that says when you play this card, your character's name Olaf get plus strength or whatever. So I like it. I like this card a lot just because it's so fun. I'll be collecting as many of these as I can, foil, non-foil, whatever. I would love to see this in Enchanted. It probably won't happen though. Sad face. But Olaf, Carrot Enthusiast, fun card. I think there is something more to this that we aren't seeing yet, like a carrot item that will basically let you give Olaf more strength to be able to give your other characters more strength on top of that. And then the final card we got from the comic book article, was Aladdin Brave Rescuer, 3 costed Inkable and Steel for Floodborn Hero, 3/3 for 1. Shift, discard a location card. So kind of playing into the John Silver, Ruby Steel location deck possibly. If you want to shift this down, I don't really know why you would want to shift a 3 cost down. Again, I think there is something more to the shifting and discarding. If there just has to be, at the end that doesn't make any sense if there's not. And it says crashing through. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item. So we get more item removal. Being able to quest if you can keep this guy alive behind some bodyguards and stuff like that. Aladdin Brave Rescuer could come into play as a way to banish items turn after turn. The next batch of cards we're going to talk about is from IGN. 4 songs that we got. The first one is Be King Undisputed. 4 costed uninkable in Ruby. Each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. This is Lady Tremaine as a song, and I like it. I think this could be really interesting. Obviously, it can be sung. So if you're playing Ruby Amethyst, you play a Rabbit down, and then the next turn sing this with Rabbit. Also play a Maui down using your ink and be able to take something else out. I think this card is going to see play. I think this card is going to be good. Obviously, it just is another uninkable that Ruby Amethyst has to deal with, but it's always going to be the case. There's going to be more uninkables that Ruby Amethyst or any Ruby deck is going to have to deal with to be able to get those counts right. But I like this card a lot. Obviously, like I said, it can be sung, and if we can also have other cards that can sing higher, like the 3 costed Ariel. We have Singer 4s that are 2 drops. So I think this card is going to be really good and can really slow down your opponent in that mid game when it is so vital to just keep developing your board. The next one we have is a popular Frozen 2 song, Lost in the Woods, a 4 costed inkable Amber song. All opposing characters get -2 strength to the start of your next turn. Great and limited to be able to kind of keep your board presence alive. But again, these cards that we've seen at minus strength from opposing characters hasn't really been great. I don't know if maybe there's something we're missing. Like I've said, it's a point I've made a lot in this video is, are we missing something? Is there more to this than we don't know? But again, kind of just doesn't seem like the greatest card in the world because of how much we can also then put strength back onto our characters with cards that we've seen already in this set and in the first 3 sets. The third one we have is Seldom All They Seem, a 2 costed inkable. Chosen character gets -3 strength this turn. 2 costs, not bad. Obviously, like I said, with Lost in the Woods, it's kind of hard to tell if these minus strength is good. I like that it's cheap because small characters can sing this and give opposing characters less strength to be able to take things out. So I think that's because it's such a low cost card, this can actually perform well. But again, we just have to see, is there a reason that we need to do this, or can we just use our characters that are already on the board and not have to waste a spot in decks that they feel tight, but obviously as we get more cards, they're just going to feel tighter and tighter, and things are going to leave and new cards are going to go in, and we'll have to see, is Seldom All They Seem going to be a card that can do that? And the final song we got from IGN was Treasures Untold, another Sapphire song, a 6 costed inkable, one that says return up to 2 item cards from your discard into your hand. Item recursion. Like I said earlier, we know how much Sapphire loves item recursion. There are cards that can sing this, like Gaston, I think is the first one that comes to my mind. Play Gaston, find a card in your hand, and sing Treasures Untold next turn to go get back more items. I still think we're going to see more item stuff in this set. That's just going to build up and keep giving this deck a better way to get stronger. And I think this is also great for late game if we need to get a lucky dime back. If you're playing Ruby Sapphire or Ruby Steel, not Ruby Steel, Sapphire Steel, you can get those lucky dimes back because obviously they're going to be targeted by these item removal. Benja, Wildcat, which doesn't see as much play. And so lots to think about. I don't know. The 6 cost is interesting. I think there's a 5 cost would be so much better, but obviously you can say that about so many cards. So I would like to see how this plays out. I think we're going to get more items in this set. They're going to do better things and help this deck a lot. I really want to see items take off. It's been a really fun deck to play so far for me personally. If I think it just needs a few, like 1 or 2 more pieces to make sure that it gets to where it needs to be consistency wise. But other than that, I think this deck can do a lot, and I think this card can help in the right scenarios. We have 3 more cards that came from different various outlets today. The first one is going to be Sisu Emboldened Warrior. This came from the Set 4 Resources page on Disney Lorcana's official website. A 3 costed inkable in Ruby, Storyborn Hero, Deity Dragon, 1/4, Surge of Powers. This character gets +1 strength for each card in your opponent's hand. Early game, this is going to crush. And if you're playing Ruby Steel and you can wheel them, a whole new world them back into a full hand, make this a 8/4 for a 3 cost. Oof, that's wild. And it's 2 lore. I think this is going to be really good. I think it can find a spot in limited decks as well, just because if you are able to keep a solid hand size, or your opponent's finding a way to keep a solid hand size, then I think this is going to see a lot of play. I think it'll see a lot of play in constructive play because of how much drawing is just so prominent. We see Amethyst being able to draw their hand up to 10 cards, and this can really punish those players who are going to try to keep a hand size. They're going to have to be weary of, do I want to draw here? And if there's a Sisu out, am I going to let this run into me and I can just run back into it? We also know Ruby has ways to set things back up straight and not ready with Shield of Virtue. So lots to think about with this card. I think this will see play. I think it's going to be good and constructed just because of how much draw we see so far. The second to last card we have is one of the first locations we're seeing in the set. We've seen two more before this, but this is a 3-costed uninkable Ursa's Lair, Eye of the Storm. 2 move cost, 6 lore, 6 willpower, 6 lore. That would just win you games. 1 passive lore. Slippery Halls. Whenever a character is banished in a challenge while here, you may return them to your hand. Seat of Power. Character's name Ursula get +1 lore while here. Obviously, this plays into the Ursula's Return set. I don't know if this will be great. I think the uninkable is not great on this. Obviously, being able to get a character back after it's banished is great, especially in a color that has Merlins that you can draw cards and gain lore and all that. I think that could be really interesting, but also kind of just says, okay, go for the location before you go for the characters, and then you'll be able to not have to worry about them going back to your opponent's hand. And that 2 move cost is kind of high, so out of the gate, I don't like this, but who knows? Maybe we've seen Ursula that lets you move there if you sing a song. That would be interesting. It lets you move to a location for free if you have played a song this turn. Who knows? Ursula's Lair, fun card. I love the art for this one, but again, I don't know how great it's going to be. And the final card we have for this Gazette edition is a 4-costed Ariel in Amber Singing Mermaid, 3/3 for 2 lore, and Singer 7. 7! That's Be Prepared territory. I'm telling you, you play anything before Pluto or Lantern turns 1 or 2, get this down on turn 3, and then sing Be Prepared on turn 4, and then play a 4-cost down afterwards. That is such a tempo shift. Amber Ruby has a shot. That character deck, Mufasa deck, this card is going to completely change how those decks work. And I'm guessing we're going to see another really good 7-cost song along the, maybe in Amber or in another color that works well with it. But this card, Singer 7, it's the highest Singer we've seen so far. Obviously, we have the 3-costed Ariel that's you search for a song. So if you want to play that on turn 3 to find yourself a song, and then play this, and then ensure you have a Be Prepared or something in your hand. And yes, I know we have ways to remove those songs from opponents' hands. But again, this is really good. Also, this definitely has the shot to be an enchanted. I 100% expect this to be an enchanted in her so commonly known pose on the rock with the water behind it. If it's not, missed opportunity. And that was the first edition of the Illuminary Gazette for Ursula's Return. A lot of great art. All of these cards, I think I mentioned. I forgot to say that during it, but this art is amazing. Lorcana art has always been amazing. Also, a lot of new fun abilities to mess around with, see what we can find. But that was, like I said, the first edition. We hope you all enjoyed. Let us know what your favorite card is, and make sure you guys subscribe. But we'll see you guys in the next one.